What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with a fucking banger, okay? No joke, no cap, alright? Big banger. But before I dive into that, I do want to mention real quick, first off, drop a like if you do enjoy, and second off, I'm fucking sick of this shit, alright? I'm sick of the way that I'm being treated, okay? I go on Instagram, all these other famous people, not even famous people, just YouTubers who have less subs than me too, have hella clout on Instagram. I see motherfuckers with like 20K on YouTube and they have more on Instagram. They have like 25K on Instagram. So the ratios show that 100% and more of their sub count follows them. I have 37K on YouTube and only 2.5K on Instagram. The numbers aren't running right, Mason, and I don't know what the fuck they mean. So you're gonna listen up, boys. I'm not asking no more. I'm not playing nice, follow my shit. I want to get clouded up on Instagram. I'm sick of it. I've had it up to here. I'm done. Link is in the description at the GBLN. Follow my shit right now. I'm done. I'm sick of it. I'm not asking anymore. This isn't a drill. If you don't follow me, you can't watch my videos. Get out. Go. Leave, don't come back. I've had it. I've had it up to here. I'm sick of it. All these other famous people clouded the fuck up except me. Shit. Okay, either way, let's dive into it. So, this was... I'm trying to think of the best way to start this. I'm going to preface this by saying that this was probably the most, stupid and wasteful thing I've ever done. So, if there's one thing that you're going to take away from this video, I probably wouldn't do this again. But either way, this fateful occurrence took place on 420, and the occurrence I'm talking about is the Raw Challenge Cone, the 3-ounce cone, which is, to my knowledge, the biggest, pre-roll that you can get. If you want to hand-roll some stupider shit, be my guest, but I'm not going to partake. But either way, my buddy who we're going to call Chris, very common character in my stories, he had this challenge cone and he'd been sitting on it for a while. I remember him and I had gone to the smoke shop together about a month prior and he bought the challenge cone. I was like, why are you buying that? Are we smoking anytime soon? Because it's not like a pack of blunts. A challenge cone's like 20-something bucks. So it's not just like buying $1 pack of blunts because the flavor's cool. It's like if you buy that, it's like, oh, okay, you probably really intend to smoke that. It's not just like a souvenir, So I'm asking him, I'm like, bro, when you plan on smoking that, what are we doing? He's like, oh, probably on my birthday. And his birthday is right before 420. It's pretty close to it, maybe a couple weeks in advance. So I was like, all right, cool. So zoom up to his birthday. I'm out of town. We didn't end up smoking it. He didn't end up smoking it anyways. He was like, I'm going to save it for 420. Excuse me. I'm like, all right, that's perfect. So 420 rolls around. He hits me up. I hit him up. I'm like, yo, are we doing this today? Are we for real rolling the challenge cone? He's like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's go. So I go over to his house. I pull up. I'm like, what's good? I shake up. There's another dude who we're going to call Johnny there. Johnny is someone who I don't think he's been in many, if any, of my stories, but he's more of a recent character. He hasn't been around for super duper long. He's more of a recent guy. So either way, Johnny's there. I dap up with Johnny. I'm like, what's good, boys? What's the plan? And we're trying to break down who's buying what weed and what's going down. And the plan was Johnny was going to buy an ounce. I was going to buy an ounce. Chris was going to buy an ounce. And then we had another guy who we're going to call Nolan, who was supposed to come over later and also buy an ounce. And there we were going to have a QP. And we estimated we were going to have maybe 3 ounces, 2.5 to put in the cone because we'd done a lot of Googling and shit. And we were even watching videos on the best way to stuff it, even though it's a pre-roll. You still have to really, really be careful with it. But we'll get to that later, but either way, the plan was one of us each was going to throw for an ounce, and then we'd have an ounce left over or an ounce and a half, give or take, after rolling the cone to just roll up some more blunts and just kick it if we wanted to smoke some more after this cone, which we didn't really know if we were going to want to, and we kind of didn't. But either way, so Nolan isn't there yet, and we're kind of waiting on him, and he's with a female. So we're like, all right, well, why don't, myself and Johnny and Chris already had his ounce, so why don't myself and Johnny just buy our shit and do what we got to do, So I end up buying my weed. Johnny's got to go to the ATM, right? And by this point, after I bought my ounce, we kind of took a pause before we went to the ATM for Johnny to get his money. And we rolled up a couple blunts, we kicked it, played a couple games of Fortnite, and then we ran up to the ATM with Johnny. Now, by this point, I'd been at Chris's house for maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours, and it was past the point where Nolan was supposed to come over. It's like we knew this cone was going to take a long time to stuff, and even though we were luckily able to buy enough shake for it for the most part, so we were able to kind of skip the grinding portion of this, we still needed a lot of time. We needed to allocate time not only to stuff this thing, but then to smoke it, because this isn't going to smoke very quickly at all, and it didn't. But either way, so we're running up to the ATM, and Chris gives Nolan another call, and Nolan is just not picking up. Nolan is just not picking up at all. And, we're kind of sitting there in the car as Johnny's at the ATM, and I'm like, bro, are we even going to, wait on Nolan? He's probably going to flodge, isn't he? And Chris was like, yeah, he probably will. I hope not. And, I knew that we had enough weed, but I just wanted to make sure that we had a good 420. And also, this was Chris's birthday celebration, because I was out of town for his birthday. So it's this was us celebrating his birthday, This was the big thing. So I was like, all right, I'm not letting this happen, So I will get out the car. I go to the ATM. I'm not even at the same bank. We're at a PNC. I got a Chase account. You bet I paid that $3 fee. You bet I paid that $3 fee to withdraw. And luckily, since we were buying shake, it really wasn't that much of an investment. We were getting ounces for $120, so it wasn't really a big deal at all. And anyways, what we ended up doing was, we got back in the car, roll back up to Chris's house, and Chris's brother is the plug, of course, so he's serving us that. It's that shake, but it's that good shake. Let me tell you, this shit, it's it was some gas pack. People always think a shake is bad weed. Nah, dude. Shake doesn't have to be bad weed. Shake is what I call convenient weed, all right? You got to be smart if you're going to be a smoker, all right? Don't be stupid. No one cares if you got gas pack. No one on Instagram cares. But either way, so anyways, as I was saying, so we go back, we pick up, we got our QP now. Now it's me, Johnny, and Chris. Now, we're kind of disappointed in Nolan that he really chose the female over us. We were really hurt by that. And, we hit up a couple other people who were already scheduled to come over anyways, and they were going to throw in a little bit of money maybe, but we didn't really care. We figured, if we have a QP on 3 heads and don't let the homies come hit the blunt, then we're just being selfish dickheads. And it's 420, So yeah, we just kind of told the boys pull up, you'll get high, pull up. So we had maybe I want to say it was 3 other people come over, and as we were getting ready to roll the challenge cone at least, we had 3 other people come over, and there's 6 heads on it now. And, we finally decide once they get there, all right, we should really start stuffing this thing. So what we ended up doing was Chris was the one who held it, and I was the one who kind of slowly poured the shake in, and then as Chris would hold it, I would push it down, stuff it down, and make sure. And, how the challenge cone is, it's not like a normal cone. How they have it is it comes in a sleeve, and there's 2 different sleeves, right? There's one that's in the inside of it originally in the packaging, and then there's a sleeve for the outside of it. And what you're supposed to do is take the outside sleeve and leave it around the paper, leave it around the cone, and then keep the inside sleeve in there, but pull it up and use it as a funnel. And apparently you're also supposed to they give this huge stick that's as long as the entire challenge cone, right? And they give you this huge fucking stick, and you're supposed to hold it in the middle. I'm not sure if this is actually what you're supposed to do, but this is what I was told by Chris because he watched a bunch of videos. He said that someone said that we should hold the stick in the middle to make sure the airflow is good, as we stuffed it and packed it down, just to make sure it flows right. But we decided to not do that because we were there's no way we're going to hold this thing dead center in the middle, and then it wouldn't even make sense because as soon as we picked it up to stuff it, wouldn't all the weed just fill the middle? I don't know. It didn't make sense to us. So we were just fuck it. Let's just skip the stick. And we also skipped the little inner funnel part. What we ended up deciding to do was taking out the kind of inner coating or shell or whatever you want to call it, the little casing that they had for the inside. They were supposed to make a funnel. We just took that out entirely. We left the outside one on because you got to at least have one of them on to make sure the papers don't tear. And we just kind of started pouring shake in. We bought pretty much entirely shake. We had maybe 1 ounce that was nug and 3 that was shake. And luckily we used about exactly 3 ounces. It was a little less. We had maybe a quarter left in the last ounce. So, 2 3/4, whatever the fuck you want to call it. We used a lot of weed on this thing, and I'm slowly pouring some in. We weren't really measuring. It was just every time we felt enough was poured, I'd stop, and then we'd poke it down. We'd feel it, make sure it was stiff enough, because we didn't want to, fill up this whole thing and then realize it's fucking lopsided in one part because we didn't pack it tight enough. So we were really being thorough with this. And, everyone else who was there was just sitting around kind of watching in awe. They weren't even like trying to smoke or anything. They were just watching because it was like, oh my God. And, let me tell you guys, this thing is as long as somebody's arm, like a grown man's arm. Like this thing is genuinely huge. Like I really want you guys to try to get a comprehension of how big this is in person. It's like genuinely like a full-size baseball bat almost. Not quite. I'm pushing it. But it's sizable. I mean, you could make an MLB debut with this thing and take a swing and probably nail a good home run, Like this thing is bulky. So we finished stuffing this thing up. What we opted to do in the end was just kind of twist together the end like you do on a normal joint. We were like, should we do that? Or like, is there too much paper? Like, should we even bother? We ended up opting for that. So we twist up the end of it. We got it packed down nice and tight. And now we're trying to figure out how exactly we're going to smoke this. Because there's like 6 people in the garage, right? There's 6 heads on it. And we kind of had to rearrange our seats and put a table in the middle of all of us. So just in case anything happened, like we had to put the challenge cone down and operate on it, we had like an operating table right in front of us. So we spark it up. Everyone's holding it with 2 hands. Chris is Mondays on it and I'm Tuesdays on it. Just because, it was like Chris's house. He kind of had to have Mondays on it. But I'm Tuesdays either way because I paid for the most weed in that bitch. So, we're sitting there. He's sparking it up. He's for real holding it like a rocket launcher, like an assault rifle. He's just both hands on that bitch. Real intense. We had to have someone else light it. We had to light it with 2 torches as well. What we ended up doing was, because a lighter isn't going to fucking cut it. You have to like make sure, especially with the challenge cone, that you light it correctly because it'll fucking canoe, and if it canoes, you're boned. You're actually boned. It's not like a normal blunt where like if it canoes, you just kind of turn it over and light that side or do whatever you got to do. It's like you're really losing a lot of weed if it canoes or if anything goes wrong. So we were stressed, but he sparks it up. It's smacking. And the weird thing is, I expected it to be very different. It wasn't really producing like super fat clouds until the very end. Like it wasn't really hitting super hard, but it was really harsh. Like it almost felt like I took like a giant hit and it just like got zeroed immediately before I ever exhaled every time I hit this thing. As it came my way, I'm holding it with both hands. I'm smacking this thing and I feel like I'm not even making a dent. Like the smoke I'm exhaling, we had to check, like, is this actually hitting? But like this bitch was hitting. Like I was getting fried. I definitely felt it. It was like, I don't know. It's just, it isn't that kind of thick smoke, if that makes sense. Like it was towards the end, but in the beginning, because of how big the thing is, I guarantee, I mean, not only do you have to inhale like a fucking champion for this shit, but like, I guarantee probably half the smoke from my hit was still lingering like halfway through the challenge cone as I passed it to my homie, It's like, it's just so big, you can't like clear all the smoke. It's not going to happen. It's not possible, So it's more just like inhale for as long as your lungs can take and just get the smoke. And as it went on, it got better, but it still hit, as much as it needed to, during that stage. It was good. So we're passing this around and, I was already baked going into it, but I reached this kind of new level. I reached this level of like, I don't know, man. It's really hard to describe. After we'd pretty much finished this thing, and let me also say, this took damn near 2 hours to smoke, if I remember correctly. I wasn't really paying attention to time after like 10 minutes because I was really fucking baked, but I'd say this probably took at least a good hour and a half to 2 hours, if not more. We were in there for a long time. We were stuck. But either way, as we're passing this around, towards the end of it, I really started to feel how baked I was. And it hit me very subtly. The thing is, I smoke a lot, but I don't smoke a ton like all at once like this very often. I don't just like roll up like 5-gram blunts to the face and shit. Like if I'm facing a blunt, I'll put like a gram or a gram and a half in it, or sometimes 2 grams if it's a really good day and I have some extra weed, but like I've never really sat down and smoked this much weed, no matter how many heads are on it. I've never sat down and just smoked all this in one joint. It's like I'll smoke that over the span of a night, but like in one sesh, a QP, even if there's 6 heads on it, still on one joint, that's fucked, not a QP, 3 ounces, but either way. So, as I'm smoking this thing, I'm just fucking toasted. And I got this kind of bait that is really not comparable to just normally smoking a blunt or just getting really baked or really dabbed out or whatever. It felt like when I first got high, it was like that kind of fucked up. It's like I genuinely can't really get up right now. It's like when I was sitting in that chair in that garage, and everybody was the same way. Everyone was fucked up. There was, Johnny in particular, okay? Johnny was fucked off his ass. This man literally was not talking. When he talked, he would mumble. And it got to the point where he wouldn't hit the blunt anymore. Like, we'd have to skip him in roto because we rolled up a couple extra blunts like 30 minutes after or an hour after just because, I don't know, at that point we were just really high and it sounded fun. But he was like skipping the blunt. He was sweating and shit. He was fucked up. It was kind of funny. But either way, we're just... Oh my God. I mean, we are just fucking plastered. I'm talking drywall type shit, That doesn't even make sense, but fuck it, whatever. So, anyways, we roll up a couple more blunts after this. We still got maybe an ounce left, a little more than an ounce. So, what we end up doing is we had a bunch of extra packs of blunts, right? I'm a Zigzag connoisseur. I bought a bunch of Zigzag grapes on my way over, and we passed out a pack of blunts to everyone sitting at the table except Johnny, because that man could not even open the pack, let alone roll one. So we passed one to everyone but Johnny, and we basically just had a big bowl of weed in the middle. We took all our weed, the entire QP, before we even started rolling the challenge cone, and just dumped it in the bowl, including the nugs. We would pull out the nugs if we needed nug plugs. And that's another thing I forgot to mention. If any of you guys watching this video or watching this because you want to roll one, put nugs at the bottom. Even though there's a filter in there and it's a pretty fucking good filter, still do it. It helps with airflow too. But also, yeah, that's another thing. The shake that we used kind of fucked with the airflow a little bit, which could have kind of also caused our problem in the beginning. So use more nug than shake if you can, like popcorn nugs and shit. Mix it in with the shake. Don't use straight shake. Don't grind everything. But yeah, either way. So back to beeswax. So, we're rolling up a couple extra blunts and everyone's rolling 2 blunts and we're all just happy as fuck. I can tell everyone's fried and we're all just smiling, joking around. We're all like, damn, man, we haven't had a smoke session like this in a minute. Everyone just rolling up blunts, facing blunts. And that was the plan too. We were all going to each roll up 2 blunts and just face them. Just face both the blunts. Because at that point, why even pass them? That's just a hassle. If we each have 2 blunts, why would we each pass around 2 blunts? Just face them. It's the same fucking thing, Just less of a hassle. So we're all facing these fucking blunts, and we're just, I mean, I didn't really feel the blunts. I mean, can you blame me? But I didn't really feel them at all because we just smoked this giant challenge cone. I was already cooked as can be. But it was more of just like a kind of pastime. It was more just like watching the smoke get blown out of my mouth was like, that's cool. That's something to do, So we ended up smoking those extra couple blunts. People kind of started going home, dwindling off here and there. It was getting kind of late. It was maybe like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So not super late, but late enough for people who were like, all right, I'm really high and I just want to go sleep. So they went and did that. I'm pretty sure I was one of the last ones to dip. I believe, if I remember correctly. I probably don't, but either way, I ended up sitting around a little longer as it got later and eventually ended up heading out. And we still had some weed left over, even after all of that being said and done, even after rolling up all those blunts and shit. We still had a pretty fair share of weed left over. So that either equates to A, the plug really hooked it up and packed the bags fat, or B, someone sitting at that table is rolling fucking bitch-ass .5 blunts, which is unacceptable when we have that much weed. You can't do that. If it's under 1.0, throw it in the garbage. But either way, so, anyways, back on topic. I'm off topic, boys. So, we're kind of wrapping things up, and I end up being able to take home a little over a half ounce. I ended up getting like 15 point something grams. It was like 15 and a half, I think. And since I paid for the majority of the bud, I got to take home that cut of it, and Chris didn't really want any, so I got to take home a fat cut, and Johnny wanted some, but he threw less, so I gave him a little bit out of my 15. I threw him some. I was like, all right, yeah, we'll match it up, we'll do it up. So we ended up striking a good deal, and I got to bring some home, which was pretty nice. But yeah, let me tell you, I got home that night and I slept like a fucking baby, dude. Oh my God, I'm telling y'all right now, I've taken NyQuil. Y'all have probably seen that video. But I've never slept so good in my life. NyQuil did not compare. So either way, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Drop a like if you did. And also, remember what I said in the beginning. I'm not playing. Follow my shit. Follow my Instagram. I'm sick of it. I've had it up to here. So, either way, thank you guys for watching. Deuces.